Hi and welcome. I'm Bill Say. In this video, I want to demonstrate an Innerwork method for dealing with self-criticism. So, first of all, I want to preface that the reasons why a person may be self-critical can vary enormously. There may be chronic self-criticism that's actually not just the individual problem, so to speak, but could be tied to larger social and marginalization issues. For example, if a person is relatively marginal within a given social context, you may, if that's you, you might find that you struggle more with things like self-doubt and self-criticism. And so inner work can be part of a group of measures to help address that, maybe associated with outer work in the larger social world. But there also could be more localized reasons. For example, sometimes people have families of origin that are very critical, and then the person has, in a sense, internalized, or so to say, introverted those early familial critics into their own psychology. This little noise here, by the way, is my friend I want to introduce today. He's going to be my little helper, kind of a critic. But let's say whether it's more chronic or whether it's more temporary, you want to have a way to deal with self-criticism because, for example, you're going to do something that you haven't done before, or you're new at it, or you just, somehow you're about to do this activity and you notice a lot of self-doubt, self-criticism rising. It can be a way to actually make the activity more fun. You might notice that working on your own self-criticism frees you up. You get a little bit less anxious, for example, or in the process of working on self-criticism, you actually become clear about how to do the activity. Because sometimes the critic may have certain value, a certain perspective that's needed, for example. Now, let me demonstrate a little criticism work, a little inner work for self-criticism. Let's see how it can go. So let's say you notice that you're starting to feel self-critical. Could be around any issue. Could be around appearance, could be around something you're doing, could be around something you're about to say or you did say. So it could be a way to prepare. It could also be a way to process something that has already occurred. Let's say you did something or said something, felt very self-critical. It could be a way to process the thing. You may notice that you're just attacking yourself. Okay, but maybe in the attack and in the processing, there may be things that you're learning from what just occurred. Okay, so I don't want to just say, for example, that the critic is a problem, although feeling self-criticism certainly usually doesn't feel very good. Okay, so let me bring in the camera a little bit closer so you can see my little friend here. Hello, I'm a little critic, and I'm going to show Bill what a stupid idiot he is today. So there's an example. An inner criticism that says, you're stupid. Yeah, so this one says, let me get a little closer here. Bill, you're stupid. What are you even talking about? And it's silly bringing me into this video. People are suffering from self-criticism and you're making it like a comedy. Don't do that. It's embarrassing to me. Stop it. You're an idiot. And then that gives me an opportunity to go, yeah, well, I want to say to you, I don't appreciate being called an idiot, but I hear what you're saying. There is something about what you're saying that maybe for some people, including myself, self-criticism is a very serious thing. And does this make light of it? Yeah, you're listening to me. You're making light of it. And I want to say, well, making light of it in some way that is disrespectful to people's hurts, that's not so good. So I agree with you there. But I also see that sometimes making a light of something can be a way of looking at something differently. What do you think about that, Mr. Critic? You have a certain point. I know when we get really self-critical, we do get really serious, and that's not always so fun. Yeah, like that. Anything else you have to say? Mr. Critic, you were calling me stupid. Yeah, well, I still think you're a little stupid, but also maybe a little smart. Well, I appreciate your openness there, Mr. Critic. And I'm noticing I'm kind of enjoying myself having this conversation with you. But how are you doing? Sometimes the inner critic can have feelings. Let's find out. How do I feel? I think I feel a little insecure. Here we are. You don't know who's going to be watching you on the World Wide Web, on YouTube. Someone might think you're nuts. You're just an idiot. And what are you doing? Yeah, that's possible. That really is possible. Yeah. So if someone says that, I could say, yeah, that's familiar. I had someone else recently tell me that. I notice in the moment, I feel okay about that. How are you, though? I'm concerned about you. Well, I still feel a little insecure, but maybe a little bit better myself. Oh, is our interaction helping a little bit? Oh, it might be. Well, thank you. Thank you, friend, Mr. Critic. Let me talk to folks here, see if anyone's listening in. And do you have anything to say about this work that we just did? For me, somehow, I notice a little feeling. Let me see if I can catch it. I noticed that even though this is a fairly silly thing, I feel a little bit better. I feel a little bit freer. How about you? What would you say about this work that we just did? Well, actually, this feeling that, we're making an idiot out of ourselves, or you're making an idiot out of yourself, it's a little bit true. And by talking about my discomfort and my criticism, I think I might feel a little bit better too. Wow. So there you have it. Let's say you're noticing some self-criticism coming up, or it's been going on for a long while, chronic thing. You might try it, yeah? Might try using two physical positions. Sometimes that really helps clarify the critic and the one who's criticized. You can use two pillows, two cushions, or you can just stand here and then stand there. And really listen. What is the critic saying to me? You can hear it, and the critic could say something. And then you can just take a moment and go, how do I feel about that? And what's my response? I notice sometimes people will just agree with the critic. And that's really understandable at times. But you may also notice if your critic's being very harsh, you might agree, but do you like how the critic is relating to you? Because you can also consider this is like relationship work. So it's not just the content and whether you agree or not, which is important, but it's also how do the two relate? Because you might notice the critic being kind of nasty, and that can be important to address. I don't like the way you were talking to me, calling me an idiot, for example. And that's going to go, The other thing that can happen really easily is the critic at times has a lot of power. And you might notice, for example, times when you feel yourself in a terrible mood because of internal self-criticism. And so picking up, in a sense, borrowing, learning from the power of the critic, including in using a comparable power to respond to the critic can be very helpful. Because sometimes the critic can be very, rah, 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 you're no good. And then you may feel like, oh, I can barely respond. I can barely think. I can barely speak. I can't do anything. Yeah? But we might see, the critic has a lot of power. I too can have some power. So those are a couple things. If you like, go ahead and play with it for a little bit. And notice, even if you do it for a couple of minutes, is there even a small shift? And that shift could be something that you may understand about yourself, understand about your critic. It may be something that the critic is saying that you actually want to take in. You might notice from doing this for a minute or two that some feeling or mood starts to shift, for example. Or if you're noticing that the critic is tied or connected to external people or forces, for example, if other people have been critical of you lately and that combines somehow with your self-criticism, you might notice that somehow that helps you to understand or process the situation that is happening with external relationships. So there's a lot of different applications here and complexity. But if you have any questions, write it in the comment box. And if you have even some modest success, love to hear from you also in the comment section. Or if you get a bit stuck, maybe I can offer you a suggestion. So there it is, a little bit of work on self-criticism and another application of inner work. And I want to thank my little friend today. Yeah, okay, all right, bye everyone, bye. Bye, see ya, hope to see ya the next time. Bye-bye.